हेलो अमर।
हाँ ब्रो, आवाज आ रही है ना?
हाँ, ये शायद लाइव नहीं चल रहा ये लिंक की और दी थी
हाँ
क्या
ब्रो,
उस दिन YouTube पे?
क्या चीज़?
जो उस दिन यूट्यूब का लिंक दिया था वो कोई और दिया हुआ है शायद। उस पे तो मतलब शुरू नहीं हुआ है।
वही कनेक्ट नहीं हुआ। यहाँ पे ऑप्शन कहाँ से है करने का कनेक्ट?
कनेक्ट नहीं, जो उस दिन लिंक बनाया था
हाँ कल ना,
अच्छा
कल जो
कनेक्ट हो
शेयर
गया है।
किया था ना मैं।
अच्छा चल रहा है, आई थिंक चल रहा है बट मेरे में दिखाया नहीं।
लाइव तो हो रही है ना, दिखा रहे हैं।
अच्छा दिखा रहा है, ठीक है, मेरे में दिखा नहीं रहा था। चलिए।
यूट्यूब पर लाइव है क्या? चल रहा है क्या? कोई कंफर्म करेगा क्या?
अरे हाँ देखो, दूसरा लिंक सर्कुलेट हुआ है। इसका लिंक जनरेट कर दे ऊपर से, कहीं से होता है लिंक जनरेट।
एक सेकंड।
लिंक चेंज हो गया।
यूट्यूब पे
व्यू
लाइव
ऑन,
नहीं हुआ।
ये व्यू ऑन यूट्यूब का ऑप्शन है कि हाँ से देखेंगे?
वही।
हाँ हाँ, रुक जा, शायद लाइव हो गए, लाइव हो गए।
लाइव है बट वो लिंक दूसरा सर्कुलेट हुआ है।
एक सेकंड, ये दूसरी लिंक है ब्रो।
वही।
हाँ हाँ, हो गए,
ठीक है तो
हो गए।
भेज दे, वाली मैं सर्कुलेट करवाता हूँ फटाफट।
क्या हुआ?
वो लिंक भेज दे जिस पे स्ट्रीम हो
ये
रहा
वाली ना?
है। हाँ हाँ। वहाँ पर 280 वेटिंग चल रहा है। Let's wait for 5 minutes and then we can start.
We are waiting for all the participants to join. We'll be starting off in a few minutes. Yeah, so I'm starting now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first workshop by our club, Introduction to Web Development by CyberLabs. So you might be wondering, what exactly is CyberLabs? Well, CyberLabs is the official programming club of IIT ISM Dhanbad. It acts as the platform for people enthusiastic about technology to work together. So, if you are curious and innovative about technology, want to solve some real life problems of society, or want to build something exciting, then CyberLabs is the right place for you. Our club members have shown extraordinary performance in various hackathons, tech fests, and competitions. We at CyberLabs work in 6 divisions, namely web development, app development, machine learning, information security, graphics designing, hardware, and IoT. So, is there any problem with voice? Um, mm, okay. So, each of these divisions will be conducting their sessions about what they do and teach you the basics of their domain. You don't need to worry about learning anything in advance. All these sessions will be beginner friendly and all the stuffs will be taught to you right from the scratch. All we need is your enthusiasm and desire to learn. Then later on, we will be conducting a month-long event, Winter of Code, starting from the mid of March, where you will be required to build a project from the list of topics given to you. For the project that you choose, you will be also required to submit a proposal about how you are going to build it. On successful completion of the project, you will be shortlisted for the interviews, and upon clearing all the rounds, you will be given an opportunity to be a part of our club. Do like and follow to our Facebook and Instagram pages, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and join the Telegram group so that you don't miss any important update and deadlines. Links will be provided to you in the chat section. So, now let's get started. So, what is web development? As the name suggests, web means website or web pages, and development means building or developing it. So, web development is all about developing and maintaining websites. It is all that work that goes behind the scenes that makes the website look great, work fast, optimize the features, and display it with good user experience. So, you might be wondering, why should we learn web development? Or why do you think web development is important? So, right now, I want a response in the chat section from you guys. Why do you think web development is important? Or why should you learn web development? Well, for making websites, in order to develop any website, to create responsive websites, freelancing, well, great, proper functioning of websites. Without website, the world is a scary place. Oh, well, amazing response from you guys. Okay. For business purposes. Okay, great. So, let me tell, web development is one of the fields that is in high demand. It provides great freelancing opportunities. It is a constantly evolving field and every day new technologies come up. You can create whatever you want. Also, it is very easy to learn and build your own website. These days, if something is not online, then it almost feels like it doesn't even exist. As of now, there are over a billion websites, and all of them require web developers for their maintenance and to keep them updated. Talking about any big company or organization, from as big as Google, Amazon, Apple, Flipkart, or to even the smallest startups, they all need websites for their functioning. To increase their user engagement, make them aware of the services they are offering, and display those in a short and precise manner. As a web developer, you should have the skill to add relevant features and functions to the website. Web development becomes an essential skill to learn, and it enables you to design interactive web pages that can engage and meet your user needs. So, you might also be wondering how a website is made. Basically, every website is composed of these three components: the HTML part, CSS, and JavaScript. There are also many tech fields which are involved in making a website, but majorly all the modern websites are built using these three components. So, what are these? HTML. HTML basically forms the skeleton of your website. It defines the structure of your website, controls the layout of the content, and the fundamental building block for any web page. CSS. CSS is basically to stylize your website, makes the website look great, and handles the look and feel of your website. So, if there is just HTML, your website may not look so good. Applying CSS to it, it might look so great. Then comes the third part, the JavaScript, which basically forms the brain of your website. It constructs the logic building part, adds interactive to your web pages, handles complex states and functions, and is related to fetching data and posting it. So let us take an example of our website, which is our CyberLabs Club's website. Let's visit it. Okay. Hmm. Is the link not working? Yeah, so this is the website of our CyberLabs Club. As you can see, this website looks so great. You can see some animations going on. There are few data, these CSS, great coloring. Overall, it looks great. So this is also composed of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now let us see what happens if I remove all the CSS from this website. Well, to do that, I will click on Inspect. This will open the coding of this website. And from this, I will delete this head element. Now you can see that the website has lost all its CSS and it has become so ugly. Basically, you can compare this to a skeleton having no styling. Well, the styling has gone, all the components are being displayed in their original forms. Overall, this is the rough structure of what the website was before applying CSS. On refreshing it, okay. So it has become, so I'm back to the original website. Let us start with the definition of HTML, which is hypertext markup language. Well, this is different from your other languages which you have learned, might be C or C++, which is in your course. It is quite different from that. It is a markup language. So what exactly is a markup language? Well, markup language is basically like a text document, but it is also marked up by some character and symbols which controls how the text is to be displayed. HTML codes the structure for this text. Well, let us now come to the syntax of the HTML. Every element that you see in HTML will be composed in this way. A tag name, which is the opening tag name, and a closing tag name. Well, these tag names are written in this way. First of all, you start with a left angle bracket, followed by some text or a character, then close it with a right angle bracket. Well, to close this element, you also need a closing tag, which is again a bit similar, but this time it is accompanied by a forward slash. So now let's get our hands into coding up a real website, which will be your own website. For that, you can choose a suitable folder in your computer, and there you can create a new file for the text document and name it as, remove the extension as well, and name it as index.html. It will once ask for a warning if you want to change the file name extension. Well, you can click on yes. So right now you can see I have created an HTML file, and I can see a logo of my Chrome browser right here, which basically means all the HTML files by default will be opened in the Chrome browser. Chrome was set as my default browser. If you have set your default browser to something else like Firefox or Microsoft Edge, then you will see the logo of that. A common issue you might face here is that you won't be able to set the extension for this. For that, you can click on these three dots. This is for Windows 11. Then on Options, go to the View and make sure that your hide extensions for non-file tabs is unchecked and click on OK. An alternative way to create HTML file will be to go to your text editor, which is by default Notepad, and here you can write some dummy text, hello world. And while saving it, save it as here, delete all the things, index.html, save it. This will save your file as an HTML. So right now, let's open with my text editor. Okay. Okay, let me create a new file. World, and save it as index.html. Right here. So yeah, I have saved the file index.html here in my folder. Now opening this, it will by default open in my Chrome browser. Right now you can see some text here, hello world, which was written here. By default, it is now acting as a text document. So now let's make it a HTML file. And how do we do that? Let's see the basic HTML template for this, which is represented like this. First of all, you start off with a doc type HTML. Then you create a tag HTML and a closing tag for that as well. Then inside of HTML, there are two nested tags, head and a body. So let's create this. First of all, opening angle bracket, then exclamatory sign, then in capitals, doc type HTML. Now let's create an HTML tag and a closing HTML tag for this. The font size might be an issue, so let me zoom it up. Yeah. Inside of HTML, there are two parts, head, so the closing tag for it as well, and the body part. So what does this basically means, doc type HTML? Well, this is to tell your browser that basically the file that we are going to display is of type HTML. Well, HTML now consists of two parts, the head and the body. Whatever you want to display on your site goes to the body part. So let's say I want to display hello world. Oh, hello world was already displayed, so hello world again. And next time, let's save it up, hitting Control plus S. Go back to the browser and refresh it. So right now you can see hello world is being displayed here. Basically, you can see right now that the title of your file was index.html. But as you see other websites like CyberLabs or the StreamYard or any other random website, it has carried some particular name and not the file name. So how does this basically happens? Well, this thing is carried out in the head part of it. There is a tag called title, which basically functions to give your HTML file a title. So let's say I can give this HTML file a title, my first website. Let's save this up, go to the browser and refresh it. Now you might notice a minor change here that the title of this website has changed. Now it is displaying my first website. So head part basically deals with the external of your websites. Whatever you want to control on your website other than what you want to display, the head part will control that. So a text editor might not be suitable for coding large files. As you can see, the indentation is not proper here. So we can use some other text editors like VS Code, which is built for that. So for using it in the VS Code, you can go to right click on it, and click on Open with Code. You should see a VS Code logo right here. Yeah. So the text which was in my notepad, it is the same text that is being displayed in the VS Code as the file was saved. So let me delete this all. And let me generate the default template for HTML in VS Code. For that, I will type HTML. And you can see there are three options. For this, I will click HTML5. And on clicking that, you can see there is some initial template which has been rendered by the VS Code. Well, some things are basically similar from the last code which he had written. Doc type is HTML. Well, there is additional thing called language, which basically means the language that the browser is expecting, which is specified by default EN, meaning English language. Then there are some other additional tags in the head part, the meta and the title. Title, which basically means to give your web page a title, which was this, my first website in the last HTML file that I had created. Then there are some meta tags. So what are these meta tags? Well, you know what is going to be displayed in your website, but how does the search engines like Google will know what is on your website? So all these things are being encoded in the meta part. These are used to specify the character set, the viewport settings, and other additional things. These are used by browsers to display the content or reload page. Okay, let me increase the font size. Okay. I hope the font size is now bigger. Okay. Okay, so meta tag basically works for informing search engines and other websites about what content your website holds. So now let's get into coding the real things. First of all, there is the body tag. Now, what all things can I display here? In the last code, you can see I just displayed a simple line of text. Well, there's more to that. So let us start with some basic tags of HTML. First of all, let's start with a paragraph. So for paragraph, there will be p tag, for which you first give an opening angle bracket, then p, then closing angle bracket. Now, as you saw, the VS Code automatically brought the closing tag for this. You don't need to do that. VS Code understands that you have written a p tag, and so it must also close it. So it basically created that. Now, right now the cursor is lying between those two tags. So let's write something here. Hello everyone, this is my first website. Let's save this by hitting Ctrl plus S, go back to the website and refresh it. So right now you can see the text has changed. Hello everyone, this is my first website. Well, this is a very small line of text. On zooming it, you can see it clearly. So this was a peak tag. Well, every coding language is also supported by comments. So HTML is also supported by comments. For that, you can give like this the syntax: an opening angle bracket followed by an exclamatory sign, dash dash, and it will generate a comment tag for me. Well, inside this, you can write whatever you want. This is a paragraph. What exactly are comments? Comments are those part of your code which do not actually play a role into coding the things. Well, these are just there to support the line of code that we have written. It basically makes your code more readable and understandable. Also, suppose someone else wants to view your code, then how he or she should understand. Comment bed works best for this. So basically I wrote here this is a paragraph. So this would signify that this is a paragraph. Any other person who would visit this code can easily understand this. This part was a paragraph. Make sure that there are not any spaces in between the characters that you have written for the comment. So this was hello everyone, this is my first website. Then comes the next tag, which is B. B basically stands for bold. So what this will do is that whatever I write inside this, it is going to make that look bold. Hello, this is written in bold. Now let's save this, visit my website and see it. So right now you can notice a difference between the two lines of text that I had written. Hello, this is my first website, and hello, this is written in bold. Well, bold looks little bolder. It is more vivid and dark and is more thick. So bold basically works to do that. Let me also write the comment for this. So for the syntax for comment, opening angle bracket, then exclamatory sign, dash dash. This is in bold. Then comes the next tag, the I. I stands for italics. Well, this is basically to design your text look different and in italics. Italics are little slanted text. So let's see how does it look. Hello, this is written in italics. Let's go to my web page and refresh it again. Hello, this is written in bold, and hello, this is written in italics. So you might be wondering that both these tags have been rendered on the same line and it didn't break. However, for the paragraph, it did break and changed its line. So why did this happen? Well, paragraph is an block level element, which basically means whatever I write, it is going to take the full width of your web page. So right now paragraph started from here and it took the full width right from here, right up to here. On the other hand, tags like bold and italics are called inline level elements, which means that it is going to take width as much as they needed. So right now this text needed this much width. So it took that much space only and gave the rest of the space to the rest of the HTML elements. Let me tell you about one more tag, which is U tag, which basically stands for underlined. Hello, this is written in underlined. Okay, let's go to my web page and refresh it again. So yeah, this is again rendered on the same line. Hello, this is written in underlined, and you can see a underline under this text. So these were some basic designs which HTML could create. Now, what if I want to display some text of my paragraph in bold, some in italics, and some in underlined form? Well, HTML allows nesting. As you can see, we were working with nesting. First of all, there was an HTML tag, then came the body tag, then came the p tag inside it. So I can create as much nesting as I want. So let's get started with nesting. First of all, let me create a p tag paragraph and let us write some dummy text. Well, to generate a dummy text, VS Code also allows a feature which is like this. First of all, you start off with lorem. Now on clicking tab, it will generate some dummy text for me. First I wrote lorem and then I hit tab, the the tab key on your keyboard. So as you can see, a long piece of text being generated in my code. Well, this was too long, so let me just clear this and instead write lorem 5. So what will lorem 5 do? It will generate exactly 5 words for me. This is all dummy text and really don't hold any meaning in English. Suppose I want to generate lorem 3. This will generate exactly 3 words. So let's start with lorem 7, which will generate 7 words for me. And let's see what is here. So suppose I want this segment of my text to be rendered in bold. So what I can do is before this text, I will start with b tag and move this text Control X, Control V inside the b tag. Now let's see what happens. Right now you can see there was a paragraph tag, and inside of paragraph tag I can see some bold text. So how did this happen? Well, it was all done because of nesting. First I signified a p tag, then the b tag, then close the b tag as up to the text I wanted it to be bold, and then I close the p tag for the paragraph. So now I want that this part of my text should be rendered in italics. So similarly, I can do like this. Get an I tag and move this part Control X and Control V inside of that. Let's go to the web browser and again refresh my page. So you can see this is being rendered in italic. Now, what if I want it to be both bold and both italics? So what I can do here is again nest it. So first it was nested in the p tag, then the p tag. Now inside of p tag, I can create an I tag and move this whole text inside of the I tag. Let's go to the web browser and refresh it. So you can see that the text is bold as well as in italics. Similarly, I can create also a U tag for this. Move the text inside of the U tag to make it underlined. Let's go to the web browser and refresh it. Now you can see it is all the three. It is bold, it is italics, and it is underlined as well. So you can create whatever you want with the tags by nesting it suitably. Now be sure that the tag that you are nesting is nested properly. And by properly, I means the tag which was last opened must be the first one to get closed. Right now here, U tag was the last opened one. So I must close the U tag first, followed by the I tag, and then the B tag. Now this I tag was not related to this segment of my code. So I have to close this separately. This I tag was the opening tag for this closing tag. And for the P tag, I wanted this part of my text to be rendered inside a paragraph. So this was the closing tag for this. Well, you might forget to nest this properly and might see some unexpected results on your web page when you try to run this or when you try to open your HTML file. There might not be any error or there might be some unexpected errors. Okay, so one more thing, HTML is not case sensitive, which means I can write the P which was in before in small case also in the uppercase. It will function in a similar way. This is paragraph rendered by P in uppercase. So let's go to the web browser and see. So you can see the paragraph is being generated, which means that HTML is not case sensitive. You can also change these texts from small HTML to capital HTML. Okay, so I have changed it small HTML to capital HTML. And again, I can see that there is not any problem with my HTML file. However, it is a good practice to write the code in smaller case so that it looks uniform. Okay, so these were some basic tags which I have told you about now. Now let us go to some more tags which I can see in the HTML. First of all, while displaying these components, I faced a problem, which was that the text was being rendered on the same line. So HTML also provides a tag for breaking the lines, and that tag is the BR. Now what BR does is break a line break. Let me refresh the page. Yeah. So you can see here that the text has shifted to the next line. What BR did was it broke that line from here and rendered all the text onto the next line. So let me write a comment for this. This is BR tag line break, which line break. So I can again give a BR tag here, which will again break the line. Yeah, so I can see now here that all the three lines are being displayed onto the three lines. So yeah, now one thing you must have noticed that BR tag is not accompanied by a closing tag. This is a self-closing tag. That means you don't need a closing tag to signify that you have written a BR tag. Similarly, there is another tag like BR which is HR. What HR does is it will also break the line, but it will also give a thin line signifying that there is a break. So right now you can see on my screen that this is the line which is being rendered by the HR tag. HR means horizontal rule, which defines a break. Now this break would occupy the full width of your page, which means it is a block level element. This is HR tag horizontal rule. Well, it works to break the page in a similar fashion. Well, let's make this tag an HR1, and you can see that I have broken that line right here. So this would break the line, but it also signified that it has broken the line by giving it a thin appearance. So Up to here, I hope you are all clear. Okay, so moving on, let's get into more tags. So there is a tag which is used to display a list of items, which is unordered list. Let's start with it. So first of all, you start off by writing UL. I have got a closing tag for this as well and hit enter. So UL basically means unordered list. And inside of this, I need some list items. So let's start off this with LI. LI basically stands for list item. Now, whatever I write inside this will form a part of my list. So let's say I want to display a list of my favorite fruits. Let's start off with mango. Okay. Well, I don't like mango. I also like bananas. So let's write bananas as well. Well, one more fruit, my favorite is lychee. So I have got three favorite fruits: mango, bananas, and lychee. Let's go to the website and view it. Refresh the page. Yeah. So right now you can see there is a list of items: mango, bananas, and lychee. I can create the list as long as possible. Let's add one more fruit. Okay, apple. Let's go to the web page and refresh this. Yeah, so one more item has been added to my list. Well, unordered list means these lists, the items of this list are not accompanied by it ordering, which means this doesn't signify that which item is number one. Well, you can say it by counting, but it is not accompanied by a number, which basically tell which item is at which number. These are accompanied by instead of bullet points. Well, HTML also provide a tag for order list, which will be for which the list items will be accompanied by number. So let's create the list for this, but instead this time, let's create a list of my favorite cars. First of all, let's start with Mercedes. Another car, let's say Ford. One more car, let's say Lamborghini. Okay, spelled it wrong. Lamborghini. Let's say Ferrari. So let's go to my web page and view this. Yeah, so I can see here the list of items that I had written there: Mercedes, Ford, Lamborghini, and Ferrari. Well, for this tag, the list is being also rendered with numbers, which means it is in ordered manner. I, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, you saw that this was being rendered on this line in this block, and this took basically full width. So the next item which came went to the next block, which means it is also a block level element. So remember that UL, OL, these are block level element. Let me write a comment for this. This is used to display a list of items. This is used to display a list of items with numbers. Yeah. So the next tag we will be looking at is the image tag. Well, any website you see is also accompanied by some images. Like here you can see this is an image, this is an image. So how it is actually rendered here? So for that, there is also a tag in HTML called img. Let's start off with this, the img tag. Well, VS Code didn't autocomplete the closing tag for this, which means it is a self-closing tag. Well, instead, for this image, I need a source from where I'm going to display an image. For this tag is accompanied by an attribute. Well, what is an attribute? You must have seen that in the HTML, there was an field named lang, which was equal to en. Well, this is an attribute for the HTML file, which means that the language was English. Similarly, I can create an attribute for this src, which means the source. Now, what is going to be the source of my image? Source is basically a link. If you are getting the image from an external website, let's say I want to display a car on my website. So let's search for it, car Mercedes, and go to the images file. So yeah, this one looks great. So what I can basically do is copy the link address for this, copy link address, go to my VS Code, and in the source, in the be sure that it is in double commas, or single comma will also work, and paste the link here. Well, this seems to be a big link. Control. Okay. So right now I have got the link to my image here in the source attribute. Let's go to the website and see what happens. Well, I guess it didn't fetch. img. Okay. There seems to be a problem with the link. Let me try with another link. Okay. Why is it not getting displayed? Okay, let me try some other link. Okay, so I was not copying the image. Okay. Okay, so I was copying the wrong link. Yeah. So you have to copy image address and not the copy link address. The link address refer to the website that I was fetching from, which was the Google search engines. You have to copy the image address. So let's go to the website and view it. So right now you can see that the image of the dog has been rendered. Well, it has got pretty large. So let's adjust this thing by adding some more attributes to my image. So let's start with first of all, I would like to adjust the width of it, which is getting pretty large. So let's give it a width attribute. Let's say 100, and also the height 100. Well, now it got very small. Let's make it the width to be 200. Yeah, so right now it is being rendered in a proper fashion. Yeah. So what is this width and height? Width and height specify the width and height of your image that is being rendered on the web page. So 200 basically means 200 in px, which is pixels. So the unit of width and height is in pixels. Okay. Well, you can additionally also style this image height and width using CSS, which we will be covering in the later part of this session. So this was an image tag. Now let's create another tag which is whose basic functionality will be to go to some other links. Let's say I have let's say for example I want to display here a text which will basically take me to some other web page. Well, the other web page must also carry some link. So for that we have an anchor tag which we will start off with A. Now this anchor tag needs an attribute href. So what does href means? Href means hypertext reference, which means it needs a reference, the link to some other site. Let's go to some other site. Oh, okay. Let's take Google as the site. And let's say I want to go www.google.com. And for the text part of it, let's say, let's go to Google. So right now you can see a link which is a hyperlink that will take me to Google. Let's click on it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, be sure to give HTTPS, which will take to Google. So yeah, I have reached Google now. Let's go back into a web page and let's click on this again. So yeah, right now I can, on clicking that link, I can go to Google. But right now you must face the problem that you have lost your existing web page. So for that, we will give another attribute called target. What will target and specify it to blank? What will target do is you can now, when I open this web page, it gets opened in a new tab. You might not have noticed that. Let's start this again. So I click this link and notice the tabs which get switched. I click this link and I open this in a new tab. My existing web page is still there in another tab. So in this way, you can open the link in another tab, or you can click, or you can open the link in the same tab if you don't give this attribute, the target one. Okay, yeah. So one more thing for the image is the alt attribute, alt. So what we'll basically do is give you the another alternate text for the image that is being rendered. So let's go to the website, click this link, and you can see the image is being completely rendered. Well, what if I disrupt the link and now my website can't fetch the link? So you can see that here the dog is being shown. The text is being shown, which basically means that the image which was there basically meant to be a dog, but for some reason it is unable to fetch the image. Okay, so one more tag that I want to discuss is the button tag. Well, you might have seen some buttons on the website whose purpose is to do some functionality or add some functions to your website and features. So how is that done? It's pretty simple. You just have to write button and close it. Well, you can see that I have completed a button element, and let's say click me. Let's go to the website and see. Yeah, so I can see here a button right now, and on clicking this button, it is being clicked. Well, what functions this button can do, we will be discussing that in the JavaScript part. Okay, so what was the link? Let's make the link correct again. Yeah, so you can see a link, a button has been created. Now let's also create some other element, which is a form element. So form, as the name suggests, it will take some input from you. What these inputs can be, let's give an example. While logging into Facebook, you can see the Facebook page asking you for email and password. So for that, you can create the form tag, which starts with form form and the closing tag for it. And inside this form tag, I will create some input fields. Let's start with input. Now again, this is a self-closing tag, and you don't need a closing tag for this. So right now this is an input element. So what kind of input do I want? Let's say suppose I want a text input, which will be basically the name of the person writing that input. So let's specify it with type attribute and give it the value text. Let's go to the web page and see what happens. So you can see a small box being rendered here, and on clicking this, it shows a blinking cursor to me. Inside of this box, I can write hello, I am here. So this is an input element. Let's specify it with some more attribute. Let's give it an initial value, a default value. Let's say user name. Let's go to the website and refresh it again. So right now you can see this username was being rendered automatically by the website. And I'm clicking this, I can edit this text. Let's refresh this again, and you can see username is being rendered again. But it gets problematic that I have to click and delete the text before I can write the original text that I want to write. So instead of value, I can give it another tag called placeholder. So what will placeholder do is that it will generate the text in a similar way, but instead this time, on clicking this, it won't form a part of my text. The username is just in the background, and it doesn't actually form the part of the text that I'm going to write. On writing some text, it goes away, and on deleting it all, it again shows up. So placeholder basically means to signify what kind of input that you are going to get from your user. Let's create some more input fields. This time, let's say I want a number from my user. So let's write type equal to number and close it. Let's go to the website and see. So yeah, I can see some another input field which is for number. And in this number, if I try to write some text, I'm trying to write some text, but it is not getting displayed. It will take number as an input. So let's do 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a number, and you can see some two buttons here, which will basically increment the value that I written here. Let's click on up. It gets changed to 3, 4, 5, 7, 3, 4, 5, 8, and it will be increment. And decrement, you can use this. So again, I'm telling this will not take text as an input. If I try to write some text, it will just simply not accept. Try to write some number, it will only take that. Let's also give it a placeholder. Now placeholder can be text as well for the number field also. So write, let's go to the website and see. Yeah. So you can write any number here. Let's create one more input field, the date. Let's specify the type equal to date. Be sure to keep it inside double inverted commas or single inverted commas. And let's see what happens. So right now you can see I am presented with some another input field which is ddmmyy, and let's click on this calendar sign. So right now you can see I can input some date over here. You can also change the month, the year, 2023, go to some previous year, select the date and click and save this. So 19/12/2021, 19 December 2021. And for all this data, I need a submit button for this. So for this, I will create a button. It is submit. Let's go to the browser and see this. Yeah. So you can see I'm presented with some button submit. And I'm clicking this submit. It would just basically submit the data. Well, how the data is submitted and what we do of the data, we will be discussing in the JavaScript part. Or basically, it is handled by the JavaScript part of it, which forms the brain of your website. So I hope you are clear with all these things up to here. Okay, great. Now let's go to the image tag again and nest it with a tag. Oh, okay, instead, let's discuss one more type of image. Okay, to display the image in a different form. So basically, this image, the link for this image was fetched from an external website. And what if I want this image, want to display an image which is on my computer? So for that, I will create an src tag and a closing tag for this, src attribute and a closing bracket sign. And in this, I want to display a image which is locally installed, locally downloaded in my computer. So let's go to this image. Let's take some another image, this, and this time let's save this into my folder. Okay, so let's name this as dog.jpg. Save this. So yeah, right now in the VS Code you can see I have got the file for dog, and in the source I can simply type the name of the file, dog.jpg. Let's go to the browser and see what happens. Again you can see the image of the dog being displayed, and again it's being displayed in large format. So for this, let's adjust it again with width maybe 200 px and height equal to 100. So to adjust this uniformity, okay. So yeah, this is a file which is being displayed locally from my computer. Okay, let's create a folder for this images file. So right now you can see in the VS Code a mark for new folder. Let's click uh, let's click this and name this as images. This folder will basically hold all the images that I create on my website, and move this dog image into the images folder. Yeah, move. So right now the dog is now in images folder. If I go to the website and see this, you can't see the image for it because the path has changed for dog. So let me specify the correct path for it, which is images accompanied by a forward slash images slash dog.jpg. Let's go to the website and see this again. Yeah, so I can see the image of the dog again. So this is to display a image from your computer. Okay, this is it. Okay, so let's create one more complex element, and in this I'm going to give this image a hyperlink. Well, you learned about hyperlink in the a tag, the anchor tag, which basically took you to Google. And in another element you learned about images. So let's combine these two things by nesting. Well, you must have learned about nesting up above here. Let's go. So first of all, I will create an add tag and give it an href. Let's give it again a Google. Inside this add tag, I will create an image. Okay, let's copy the same image. Yeah. So I have nested image inside a tag. Let's go to the browser and see this again. Okay. Yeah. So I can see two images of dog, but this one carries an a tag. And clicking those image, I will be redirected to google.com. Let's go to the web page again and click on this again and redirected to google.com. So yeah, you can create any link you want to redirect your users to. Just make sure that the link is correct, it's working properly. Okay, for today's session, let's discuss two more elements, which is div. First is div, which basically means a container for other HTML elements. Let's say I want to group a certain amount of elements together. So for this, div will work proper. Let's say I want to display a paragraph and a list. Let's create a paragraph. This is list of stars I like. Okay, let's not say paragraph. Let's display a heading, a head tag, H1. This is list of cars I like. Yeah, and in this, let's copy this thing and paste it here. So This is a heading tag, which means it will be displayed like a heading. This is the list of cars I like, and by that I will be displaying the list. Well, there are other headings as well. Let's say H2, which will be little smaller than the H1. This is little smaller. H3, this is more smaller. H4, and like this it will go up to H6, the smallest possible. This is the smallest. Let's go to the browser and see. Yeah, so you can see three headings over here. This is little smaller, this is more smaller, and this is the smallest. The heading tag. Now div is a block level element, which means it will take the full width. Right now you can see it was all enclosed inside the div, and the next element which I brought went to the next line. So yeah, div is a block level element. Now there's one more element which is span. Let's put this inside a paragraph. This paragraph. Span and display a piece of text inside this. Well, the actual use of span is more with related to CSS. Suppose I want this text to be rendered in some other fashion. Let's say I want its color to be yellow or red. So that thing can be handled by the CSS, and span will work for that. But the rest of the part of the text, I want it to be displayed in black only. So I can define certain part of my text within the span, and the span will work to display those component in a different manner from the rest of the paragraph. Also remember, span is an inline level element, which means it will not change the line. You can see that. Let's display this. Okay, this is the paragraph rendered by P in uppercase. Yeah, this was the paragraph, and rendered by was in the span element. So span didn't change the line. So it is an inline level element. Okay, so this was all that we had to discuss in the HTML. Now we will be moving on to the CSS part for this. And this part will be taken by Rohit Kumar, who is another member of CyberLabs web division. Yeah, so Rohit, you can take it from here for the CSS part. Okay. So yeah, guys, you can ask some questions right now if you had any doubt till here. Well, the function of a div tag is to display the elements in a container. Well, suppose I displayed this heading OL. Let's create one more p tag. This is another text. So what will this to bind this all into a single element? So div, well, the real function of div is more related to CSS. Suppose I want the CSS of these three components to be displayed in a different manner. So div will work best for that. Well, span also has the similar function, but instead this will work as an inline element. You can't see the screen. Okay, allow the screen to
Okay.
be saved.
Okay. Is my screen visible? Okay, just wait for a minute. Okay. So is my screen visible now? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so now all of you have learned about the basics of HTML. Now let's see how CSS works. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and basically CSS is used for designing the web page and for its beautification purpose. So the thing about CSS is you can change the backend part of your website like by using different languages like Python and JavaScript, and you can use different modules and libraries, but there's no alternative for CSS. Like for designing purpose, CSS is must. So that's why we learn CSS, and now you all guys know about the importance of CSS. Let's begin with it. Okay, so this is the basic syntax for all of the CSS. Like this is the selector, and we use this for selecting element. Okay, so let's say we want to select a H1 element and we want to apply styles on it. So how we do that? Basically, we select the element. Yeah, basically we select the element using some selector. We will be seeing that later. And then we just give the property name, then a colon, and then value, and then semicolon inside this curly braces. So this is how we write the CSS part. So let's see an example. So in this example, what we are doing is yeah, in this example, what we are doing is we are selecting H1 element. So what this selector will do is this will select all the H1 element present in our HTML. And then inside this curly braces, we can write the properties and its value. So what this color red property will do is that this will say that we want all the H1 present in our HTML to be red. And this is the border property. Border property generally gives a border to our element. So now we know what to write. Let's see where to write. So for writing CSS, what we do is we create a new file with .css extension. Okay, so let's say I'm naming this style.css, and now in this file we will be writing all our styles. So let's see this example. Okay, so first I will select all the H1. So what this will do is this will select all the H1 present in our index page. So this is the HTML file we will be using. This is the same HTML file of the previous session. So okay, so this HTML file contains okay, so let me just add a H1 element if there is. Okay, so I've added this H1. So what this selector will do, this will select all the H1 element present in our index.html, and then we can write our styles here. So the I can simply write color red. So here color is the property name, and then colon, and then red, which is our value, and then semicolon. So this is saying we want all the H1 present in our HTML page to be red in color. So let's just save it. And if we just open this, now we can see. Okay, so just wait a minute. Yeah, if I just refresh this, we can see this is a our heading is appearing, but there is no styles on it. So why this is happening? Because we haven't linked our style page with our index page, so, or we can say our HTML file. So for this, we use the link tag. So this is the basic syntax for the link tag. We are writing link, then give a relation attribute style sheet, and then in href part, we write the path for our style sheet. So if I just do this here, I will write link, and then in our href part, I will write the path for our style sheet. So here it is style.css, and if I just save it and go here, if I just refresh the page, okay, so now you can see now our heading is red in color. So basically our styles are getting applied. So in this way we can change the color of any element. So let's say we want to change the color of all the paragraphs. So we have many paragraphs here. We have this paragraph, then this one. So if we want to change the color of all our paragraphs, so how we will do that? We will just select all the paragraph using this P selector, and thus inside the curly braces we will write color, and let's say we want to make it purple, so I will write the purple like this. And now if I just refresh my page, okay, so now you can see this. If I just zoom it, yeah, now you can see this. All our paragraphs are now purple in color. So this is okay. So yeah, this is purple in color. This is our paragraph element. So in this way, we can change the color of any element. Okay, so now let's see this border property, which is the second property. So what border property does is that it gives border to our element. So let's say we want to give this heading a border. So how we will do that? We will be doing that using border property. So here I'm going to write border 1 pixel solid and then red. So I will be explaining this what is 1 pixel solid red, but now just see the result. Okay, so now you can see if I just zoom out, yeah. Now this heading is a border. Now this heading have a border of red color. Here you can see the color of the border is red. So yeah, that's how we mention the border. Basically, this 1 pixel tells the width of the border. So basically, this is the width of our border. So if I just make it 10 pixels, so you can see the difference. Okay, yeah. And if I just reload our page, yeah, now you can see the width of the border is now 10 pixel. And the red is the color of our border. So we can change it, like say we want to make it yellow. So we will simply write yellow. And now we can see our border is now in yellow in color. So, and the third part is solid. So basically solid is the line type. So like if this is the border, so we can define how this line will look. So if I just remove solid and make it double. So yeah, and if I just refresh it, now you can see this is our double border. Like this is our double border. The pattern of our line is double. And we can also give other value like dotted. And let me give a dark color, magenta. So yeah. Okay, so now you can see that style of the design is dotted and its color is magenta. So basically in this way we define our border property. Moving on to next slides. Okay, the next is including styles. Basically how we include styles in our HTML page. So right now we have just seen this way. In this way what we do. Okay, so in external style sheet, this is how we are doing. So what we just did is we created a new file and named it style.css. Then write down all our styles inside this style page. And then we link this style sheet with our HTML page. So this is the first method using external style sheet. Basically, we are writing all our styles in an external style sheets. And yeah, in the same way we can, and the second way for including our styles is using style element. So how we do that using style element is, okay, so we just use the style tag. So for using style tag, we just write down the style, and yeah, now you can use this style tag to write down all your styles. So let's say I want to make the color of this h1 to let's say green. Currently this is red. If I want to make this green, I can simply write the h1. Here I'm again selecting all the h1 present in our HTML, and then I will do color green. So if I refresh it, yeah, now you can see the color of our heading is now green in color. So there will be no difference in syntax. The syntax is exact same. Here also we are writing in the same fashion. And yeah, this is how we can add styles using our style. Sorry, yeah, using our style tag. So the next way of including style is using inline styles. So what we do generally in style is that we add style in the element itself. So let's say for this paragraph, yeah, let's say we want to make the color of this paragraph brown. So how we will going to do that? We will use the style attribute. So style equals to double quotes, and then inside this double quote, we will write down the property and its value. So I want to change the color, so I will write color and make it, let's say brown. And then just save this file, and yeah, now you can see the color of this paragraph is now brown in color. So in this way we can change the styles. So these are the three methods of including styles. Okay, so if I just revisit this, the first one is using external style sheet. In this case we are making a new style sheet and adding our styles there. The second one is using style element. in this we are writing our style element inside, sorry, style tag inside our head part, and inside the style we are writing all our designs. And the third one is using inline style. So in this case we are just writing using the style attribute, and inside this codes we are writing all the properties that we want. So one thing to note here is that, like, if you see carefully, I'm mentioning the same property at three different places. Like here also I'm saying I want the color of h1 to be red. Okay, sorry, yeah. Here I'm saying I want the color of the h1 to be red. Here I'm again saying I want it color to be green. And here I'm saying I want, okay, so if I just make a style here also, purple. So yeah, now I'm saying I want it, I want its color to be red. Here I'm saying I want it to green, and here purple. So now you can see in the final web page, the color of our heading is purple. So basically what this conclude is that the priority order. So if I can just write it here, this is our priority order. So basically, you can see here, we are writing the same style at all of the three different positions, but still this one is getting applied because we can see in our final web page, the heading is of color purple. So basically this one is getting applied. So we can conclude that the priority order is highest for inline styles, and then for style, and then for general style sheet. Yeah, this is the priority order of our styles. So basically what this means is if there is some styles written in all of these three positions, then style at inline styles will be getting applied. So this is the priority order. But and one more thing to notice here is that we don't generally write inline styles. Okay, so let's say we have 10 h1 element and we want to make all of them red in color. So how we can write this in a style way? So basically for that we have to write the same code, like style equals to color purple, and we have to write the same code for 10 times. So there is a lot of repetition of code, and it is also time consuming. So we generally don't write styles in inline way. What we generally prefer is we prefer to write styles in external style sheet. It is also easy to maintain. Let's say after 6 months you want to change the color of your h1 to red or some other color. So you just need to open the style file and then simply go to color property and just change its value from red to whatever color you want. So in this, so that is why we prefer to use style like external style sheet. So the preferred order would be, so remember this is a priority order, like if there are same, so which one will be preferred, which one will be prioritized, and this is our preferred order, like which order we, like which way we prefer. So we generally prefer to write in external style sheet, then by using style element like this part, and at last we prefer line styles. So yeah, this is our preferred order. So if you're writing CSS, just prefer to write it in external style sheet. Okay, now moving on to next slide. Okay, so these are the some of the background properties. So let me just see this. Yeah, let's say we want to change the background of our first paragraph. Let's say we want to make it yellow. Right now it is white in color. So let's say if we want to make it yellow, so how we can do that? So we will just come here and okay, so there are multiple paragraphs now. So let me do the okay. So let me change the background color for every paragraph. So we will simply write background color and then give it a value of yellow. So basically what this will do, this will give a background color of yellow to all the paragraphs present in our HTML. And if I just refresh my page, yeah, now you can see this. Now every paragraph has a background color of yellow. So these are the three paragraphs present in our HTML. Yeah, that's how we can add background color. Okay, so the next property is background image. Yeah, you can also add background image if you want. Okay, so let's say we want to give some background image. So let me first download a background image. Um, yeah. Okay, so just download this image. So this is fine. By we will just selecting same image as and then our path. Okay, download the background and then save it. Okay, so now you can see there is a background image here. And what we will be doing is we will be just using this property background dash image. So background image, you can see VS Code is auto completing the property name, so you can use these things. And now I will be writing URL and then give a parenthesis and then a quote. You can give any single or double quote, anything. And inside this quote, we will write the address of our image. So right now the background image is our current directory. So I will just write down its name and this will work fine. So if I just refresh my page, yeah, now you can see our all our paragraphs has a background image. So, and one thing to note here is that currently the background image is in our current folder. So we can do this. But what if our background image is not in our current folder? Let's say we can create a new folder by clicking on this icon and images. So okay, background. Yeah. And if I just move this background image inside this folder, and now if I just go to the website and see, okay, now you can see there is no image in the background of all of my paras. Like this is just the background color which I'm saying here. So if I just comment this out, and yeah, you can comment in CSS like how you do it, forward slash, then a star, and then like if you want to comment this line, so to end this commenting, just asterisk mark and then a forward slash. So yeah, in this way you can comment any line or any paragraph in VS Code. And also there's a shortcut in VS Code for that. So like let me just turn this screencast mode on. For like just assume that I want to comment this line, so I can just simply press Control plus forward slash, and what this will do is that this will comment this line, and to uncomment this I will like again I will Control plus forward slash, this will uncomment this line. So yeah, this is how we do. So let me just turn this off. Yeah, so and yeah, I was saying ki we need to mention the correct path for our file. So right now okay, just comment this. Right now you can say there is no background. So how to how to write the correct path? So the correct path for this image is now background slash then the name of the image. So this is the correct path. And if I just refresh it, yeah, now you can say our background is applied here. So in this way, you always need to keep this in mind that you need to mention its correct path. So let me just undo this, delete this folder. Yeah, remove this part. Okay, so this is how we add background color and background image to our paragraph or any element. We can also do this with our heading. We can also do this with our links and with our buttons. Sorry, we cannot do this with our buttons, but yeah, we can do this with our list and divs. So yeah, let's move on to the next property. Okay, so now let's talk about the color system. So right now we are only using the named colors. Like if we want the color of our H1 to be red, then we are simply writing it red. If we want our paragraph color to be purple, then we are simply saying purple. But what if we want to use some color which don't have a name? So I don't remember exactly, but there are 100 or 200 named colors in which are supported by our browser. So but there are many other colors for which there is no name. So how we can use them? So for those color, we use the RGB color system. So this is the basic syntax of RGB color system. What we will write RGB and then parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we will be writing down three channels separated by commas. So this is the first channel, this is the second channel, and this is the third channel. So let me just write it down here. Okay, so the basic syntax for RGB is RGB, then parenthesis, and then channel 1, channel 2, and then channel 3. Okay, so the channel 1 is for red, channel 2 is for green, and channel 3 is for blue. And okay, so the range of each channel is, if I write the range is from 0 to 255 inclusive. So what basically this means is that we provide three channel inside this RGB, and the range of each channel can vary from 0 to 255. Okay, so let me just okay, if I want to represent this red color in RGB, so how I can do that? So basically I want a pure red color. So what I will do is that I will max out the red channel. So first channel is for red, so I will max out it. So the maximum value is 255. So I will write 255, and we don't want any green or blue, so I will simply write 0 here. And now you can see VS Code is showing us that these two are the same colors. Basically, this is the RGB notation of the same red color. So that's how we use RGB color. So if I just comment this RGB line, okay, so if I just comment it and go here, yeah, we can see, okay. Let me just remove this inline stars. Yeah, now we can see the color of this is red. So basically these two are the same, like this is our red color in RGB notation, and this is the named color. So can anyone can tell me what how to write the green color? Let's say we want a pure green color. So how we can write this in RGB notation? You can write your answer in comment section. Yes, for green color, we will be writing down RGB, and because we want a pure green color, so we will simply zero the red and blue value and max out the green value. So yeah, this is a pure green color, and if I just save and refresh it, now we can say yeah, this is a green color. And in the similar way, we can also do this for blue. We will just say zero red, zero green, and max out blue. So this is how we use RGB color. Okay, so this will be RGB. Yeah. Now you can see this is blue in color. So this is the way. And now you can try out any possible combination. Like you don't need to keep this value 0. Let's say 50 and 10. So now this is a random color. This is not a pure blue color because there are red and green as well. So if I just save it, yeah, now you can see there's a very little difference because the most of the part is still blue part, and there's very little red and green part, but still it is not a pure blue color. And also VS Code provides us a this color picker. So when you hover over this square, then you will see a color picker, and by using this you can select any color. Like if you want to select like a a yellow color or a red color. So you can simply just move this bar and just move this circle, and VS Code will automatically give you the RGB notation for that color. So in this case, it is 228, 146, and 70. So in this way, you can use this feature of VS Code. So yeah, now the second is okay. So the third is hexadecimal. So hexadecimal and RGB are pretty much same. Just there is a little bit difference in syntax. Okay, so the format of hexadecimal is we start by writing a hash and then the color code. So we will just start. Okay, so let me just comment this out. And okay, so let's say I want to write the same red color in hexadecimal. So how I'm gonna do that? So I will simply write a hash symbol and then, okay, so I will simply write a hash symbol and then the color code for red. So how I can write, how I will get the color code for red? So basically hexadecimal represents all number in base 16. Here you can see this 25500, these are in, okay, yeah, these are in base 10. So how to write this in base 16? So the base of like the 255 in base 16 is FF. So you can simply write FF, and for 0 it is 00. So basically in hexadecimal, the first two letters denote the red part, the second two letters denotes the green part, and the last two is for blue part. So you will just converting these decimal into a hexadecimal number, and this will work fine. And yeah, one another cool feature is that if you hover over this and if you just click on this, like first you can select any color, and then if you click over this RGB part, so it will give you the hexadecimal form of the same color. And yeah, in this way you can convert your number from one form to another form. Okay, so these are the color system. There is one more color system which is called HSL, where H stands for hue, saturation, S for saturation, L for lightness. But we are not going into that. These three are the most commonly used. Okay, so moving to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about selectors. We have already seen how we use selector. Like this is the selector. We are selecting here all the paragraphs. So this is a selector. We are selecting all the H1 elements. So this is a selector. So basically, there are many types of selectors. Let's look at some of them. Okay, so the first selector is universal selector. So what is the syntax for universal selector is? Okay, let me just comment this out so that you can see the difference. Yeah. Okay, so the first one is universal selector. Basically, universal selector selects everything, like the every element which is present in our HTML. So basically, it selects all the HTML, all the elements present in our HTML. So, and what is the syntax for this? We will simply use a asterisk mark and then these curly braces, and inside these curly braces we can write all the designs. So okay, so right now the color of every text is black. So let's say if I want to change the color to magenta, so how I can do that? I will simply write color and then magenta. So what this will do, this universal selector will first select every element and then we will provide them a color of magenta. So you can see that here. Yeah, now you can see every element has a color of magenta. So like every text has a color of magenta. So these all are in a same color. So that's how universal selector work. Basically, it selects all the element present in our HTML. Okay, so let me just comment this. Yeah, now the second one is element selector. So element selector is this one, like this is the element selector. What element selector do is that it selects all the element of the same type. So here we are selecting all the H1. Here I'm selecting all the paragraphs present in our indexed file. So in this way we can use element selector. Also we can if you want to select all the div, so we will simply write div and then semicolon. If we want to select all the anchor tag, then A and then semicolon. And like for span, we can do a span and then semicolon. So in this way, we can use element selector. So basically what element selector does, it selects all the element of that kind. Okay, so the next one is ID selector. Okay, so this is an important one. Okay, so let's say we want to make the color of the paragraph to, if I just, yeah, let's say I want to give this paragraph a background color of yellow. So how can I do that? I can simply select the paragraph and then give it a background color of yellow. Yeah, but the problem is that all the paragraph present in our HTML now has a background color of yellow, but we only want this first paragraph to has a background color of yellow. So how we can do that? So for that we use ID selector. So I'm giving this an ID of first para. So this is the format for giving an ID. We first write ID. This is an attribute and then equals, and then inside this double quote we write the name of the ID. So here I am naming this ID as first para. So what I did just now, that I give this element, this first paragraph, an ID of first para. And then how I can select the ID. So basically I will write a hash symbol, then the name of the ID. So it is first dash para. So basically what this means is this will select the element which is having an ID of first para. So in our case, this paragraph has an ID of first para. So basically this will select this first paragraph. And now I can say background color. So background color of yellow. And if I just comment this out. So yeah, now you can see only the first paragraph has a background color of yellow. So in this way, we can select any element by using a ID. So what I did is I just give this element a ID, whichever element I want to select, I first give it a ID, and then using this hash symbol and the ID name, I just specify the properties. So here I want it to has a background color of yellow. So I just write the write down the property name and then give it a value of yellow. So this is how we do. And one important thing to note about ID is that we cannot give multiple elements the same ID. So let's say there are like this is another paragraph. So if I want to give this paragraph a same ID, so we cannot do that. Like it don't make any sense to give two elements the same ID. So basically for that we use classes. So our next selector is class selector. For in class selector, what we do, let's say we want to, okay, so we have these two paragraphs now. So we want to, we want a background color of red on both of them. So how can I do that? I will simply give both of them a class. I will give them a class of, let's say, para. Class of para. So, and now here I'm gonna select those two paragraphs by using class selector. So how to use class selector? Basically just write down basically this dot and then the name of the class para and then curly braces. So basically what this will do, this will select all the element which has a class of para. So this dot represent that it is a class selector and this para is the name of that class. Similarly, in this case, this hash represent that this is a ID selector and this first para is the name of the ID. So now I want this to give a background color of red. So if I just go here, yeah, let me change the color to white so that you all can see it clearly. Yeah, now you can see these two paragraphs has a background color of red and while this one having a background color of yellow. So basically this is how we use ID and paragraph. So let's say, yeah, let's say we want this ID, sorry, we want this heading, like this heading, yeah, this h1, this is list of cars to have a background color of like background color of yellow. So how we can do that? Just go to that element. Okay, so yeah, this is the element, and now give it a ID. I'm giving this a ID of let's say just heading bottom, and now I'm gonna select that element by using it ID selector. So how we do that? We just write a hash symbol, then name of the ID, which is heading bottom, and then inside curly braces we write down the properties. So we want to give it a background color. Let's give this color. And now if I, okay, so make the color. So yeah, now you can see we are able to select this heading. So this is in this way we can select by class and by IDs. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Okay, so these are the some common text properties we use. So let's see them one by one. The first is text align. So basically we use text align for the alignment of our text. So now you can see now this heading is in the left corner, or you can say in the leftmost part of the screen. So how we can make it to the middle? So we will simply select this H1. So this is the first H1. So let's say yeah, let's give this a ID so that we are able to select it. Let's give this a ID of first para, sorry, first heading. And here I'm selecting that element by using a ID selector to first heading. And inside these curly braces, I'm going to use the text align property and make it to center. So yeah, now you can see the heading is in the center. So how we do? We just write down the text align, which is the property name, and then give it a value of center. We can also move it to the right. If I just write right and refresh the page, yeah, now you can see the heading is in the rightmost part of our screen. So in this way, we will use text align property. Okay, so the next property is font weight. So let's say we want to increase the font weight of some part. So let's use the span part. Okay, where's the span? Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's see, we want to increase the font weight of this part. So as Milan told you earlier, that span is generally used for style purposes. So we will just give this an ID of bold span, and in our style sheet we can select that by using a ID selector. So give this hash symbol, then name of the ID, then inside this curly braces we can use this font weight property. So just write font weight, and okay, so 900 is the maximum limit and 100 is the minimum limit, so you can go from 100 to 900. And if I just save it and go here, okay, so what is this rendered by? Okay, so let me just remove this so that you can see. Okay, so old span. Let me give this a color so that we can see if this is working or not. So yeah, we are able to select this, and now you can see the weight of this is this is bolder as compared to other text. So if I just remove this part and now see it carefully, you will see. Okay, so now you can see like this is the normal text, and if I just bold it and refresh it, yeah, now this is bolder version of it. So yeah, in this way we use font weight. Basically, it is used to increase the weight of a font. Okay, so the next property is text decoration. So we what text we with the help of text decoration we give underline. So we just use text decoration and give it a value of underline. So basically what this line will do, this will give a underline. So the text inside this bold span ID. So if I just go here and see, yeah, now you can see this part, the text inside the span is now underlined. So that's how you use text decoration property. Okay. So the fourth one is letter spacing. Okay, so the letter spacing is used to increase the space between the letters. Yeah, so let's say we want to increase the space between these paragraphs. So we are selecting this paragraph now. This is the first paragraph. So yeah, we are selecting this with an ID of first para. So first para, and here I'm gonna write this property letter spacing. So letter spacing of let's say 5 pixel. Now you can see the spacing between each letter is now increased by 5 pixels. So this is a 5 pixel. In the same way, we can also increase the distance between lines. So for that, we use this line height property. So okay, so let me just add a paragraph so that I can show you this property. Paragraph and then a lorem of 50, let's say. And so yeah, this is our okay. So let me just increase the content inside this lorem 100. So yeah, this is our paragraph, and we want to increase the distance between these two consecutive lines. So how we do that? We can do that by using this line height property. So if I just select this paragraph, so let's say let's give this a ID of second para, and I'm going to select that paragraph using a ID selector, second para, and inside the curly braces I'm gonna use this line height property, line height, and then just do 100 pixel and then just refresh the page. Okay, so now you can see the like the gap between every two consecutive line is increased, and it is now 100 pixel. So basically in this way we can control the distance between two lines and also the distance between two letters. So for that we use letter spacing and light spacing. Okay, so these are the most common font properties. Let's see them one by one. So the first one is font size. So basically how to increase the font size. Let's say we want to make it bigger. So how to increase it? So for now, let me just do it 50. Oh, sorry, just 10 pixel. Okay, so let me just comment this out. Yeah. What we are going to do is we are going to increase the font size of this paragraph. So this is our first para. So yeah, this is our first para, and inside this we are going to write the or you can say we can use this font size property. So just do a font size and give it a value of let's say 50 pixel. And if I refresh it, yeah, now you can see the like the size is increased. So the size is now 50 pixel. So in this way we can control the font size. Okay, the second property is font style. So okay, so let me just change the font style. So yeah, if we want to make this italic, so we can also do this using CSS. We have already seen how to do this using HTML, and this is the way we can do this using CSS also. So just write the font style property and then give it a value of italic. And now if I just refresh it, now you can see this has a like italic font. And we can also do this inside some span. So let's say we have a span here. Mm, do we have a span? Okay, so let's just go with this span, bold span, which is, so if I just go here and give this a text style, sorry, font style of italic. Yeah, now you can see this is our span part, and now it is also italic. So in this way, we can make a font italic or make a part of our text italic. So the third property is font weight. We have already seen this property, like this is the same property, font weight. So I'm not going to discuss this again. Okay, so the last property is font family. So we can also change the font family. So like if we want to change the font of this text, so we can also do. Okay, so let me just change the font of this paragraph. This is the second para. So if I just come here and write font family and then this family. So now if I refresh, you can see the changes. Okay. So now this is in a different font. Like this is not the same as the earlier. So in this way, we can change the font family of some paragraph. And one thing to note here is that we are specifying many font family here, or we can say font. So basically what this is the fallback font. So what happens is that every font is not supported by every browser, or you can say every system. So we are just saying that if this font is not supported by your browser, then use this font. And if this is not supported, then use this one. So in a this way. So basically these are nothing but these are the fallback font. So if for your system, if this font is not available, then it will use these fonts. So that's how we mention a font family. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide. Okay, so the next slide is Cascade, a style sheet. Okay, so CSS basically stands for cascading style sheets. And do any of you know the meaning of cascade word? Like, what is the meaning of cascade word? You can write your answer in comment section. What is the meaning of cascade? One after another, small fountain, different styles, I guess. Okay, so the cascade basically means falling down, or you can say falling down from top to bottom. A small waterfall, no, cascade doesn't mean that. Okay, so the real meaning of cascade is falling down, or you can say hanging down from top to bottom. So you can see in this picture, the water is falling down from top to bottom. So basically, CSS follows this same rule. So if we define two property, so you can see in this example here, we are selecting a element having an ID of heading. And here again, we are selecting the same element, and then like we are specifying the different properties. Here we are saying that we want its color to be red, and here we are saying we want its color to be yellow. So basically like these are we are first we are saying it red, and then we are saying it yellow. So what will happen is that whatever style we have declared later will win. So in this case, yellow is declared later. So this is the final style which will be shown up in our web page. So I can also show you here. Like at first, like here I'm saying that I want the H1 color to be red. So the top H1, this is the top H1. So okay, not visible. Mm, okay, like I'm giving you a first heading. Okay, yeah. If I give here a color of red, okay. I guess there's some issue. Like I'm writing the same styles again. So let me just create a new H1, and if I just save. Okay, so for now, let's see this heading. Yeah, here the color of this heading is blue. Also, like it is black in color. So if I select this heading, let's say, let me give this an ID of second heading. And now if we select the second heading by using an ID selector, okay. Oh, so okay, so this one is right aligned now, so that's why it is not visible. So let me just change the alignment. First heading, first heading here, and yeah, let me just make it to the center, and now this is visible. Okay, so yeah, let me just delete this extra heading. And yeah, here we are saying where first heading. For now, we are saying that we want its color to be red. So now you can see the color of the heading is red. And again, if I say I want its color to be blue, sorry, blue. So yeah, now you can say the color of this heading is now blue. So this is happening because we declared this style in later part of our CSS. Like this one is defined later. So that's why this one is getting applied. So you just need to keep this in mind. Whichever styles you declared later will be finally applied in your CSS, or you can say in your web page. So in CSS, order matters. Okay, so moving on to next slide, and this is the also the last topic of today's session, box model. So basically, box model is based on the idea that CSS treats everything as a box. So if I just go into this web page, and if I just open the dev tool, so you can open the dev tool by right clicking and then clicking on this inspect, and you can choose this pointer option, like here it is present. And then if you hover over any element, like I'm like this is the first heading. So you can see that HTML treats it like a rectangle. So this is a rectangle, this one is also a rectangle. So like everything is a box. This is also a box. This is a this is a small box. This is box. So like everything is a box. Even the image is a box. The link is a box. So basically CSS treats everything as a box. So and the box have certain property, like a box have width and height. So you can change this property. You have already seen how to change this property in HTML. Like we can add this as an attribute and change the value. And we can also change this value using CSS. So okay, so let me just change the width of this paragraph. So for that, we are selecting this paragraph using first para ID. So this is the first para. Yeah, here I'm gonna write the property name, which is width, and giving it a value of 500 pixel. And if I just refresh my page, now you can see the width of this paragraph is now reduced to 500 pixel. And in the same way, we can also like mention its height. Let's say I want its height to be 500 pixel. And if I can refresh this, yeah. Now the height and width, both of this is 500 pixel. And you can also just open the Chrome DevTool by going into this inspect. and then just just select this paragraph. And now in this little diagram you can see here it is written 500 into 500. So basically this is how we can mention the width and height of our box. So these are the two properties. So what we do is we just write the property name, which is width, and then give it a value, and in the similar way for height. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, so margin and padding. So what is margin and padding? So let's start with padding part. So padding is nothing. It is just the you can say the empty space between border and content box. So okay, so let me just add this. Let me add a border to this paragraph. So I can give this a border by writing border, then 2 pixel, solid red. So what this line will do, this will give this paragraph a border of 2 pixels solid red. Now, if I just refresh it, okay, so let me just increase the border by 5 pixels. Yeah, now you can see the border of this paragraph is red and it is 5 pixel of width. So, and now if I just give this a padding, so the syntax is padding the colon and then the value. So let's say 50 pixel. If I just refresh it, yeah. Okay, so now you can see there is some empty space from top, left, and bottom. So what is this empty space? Basically, this is the padding. This is of width 50 pixel from all the sides. So basically, what padding does is that it provides some empty space from all of the sides, or we can say like it provides some empty space inside our box. So we can also mention this like what if we want to give different padding from top and left. So we can do that by using these properties, padding left 10 pixel. So what this line will do, this will give this line will give a padding of 10 pixel to this box from left. So this is the left part. So here like just increase the value so that you can see. Yeah, now you can see there is some empty space and this is nothing but padding of 100 pixel. And in the same way, we can mention padding top, let's say 50 pixel, padding right, let's say again 50 pixel, and the padding bottom also. And now if I refresh, yeah, now you can see it has padding from all of the four sides. And just to confirm, you can just select this again. And now in this little diagram, you can see the padding from top is 50, which I'm like saying here, padding top 50. And then padding from the right side is also 50, which is this part. And then padding from the bottom is 100. Here you can see it is written 100. So like this, you can verify this thing. So this is the way we can provide padding from all of the four sides. And this is the shorthand notation. Basically, what padding 50 pixel will do, this will provide a padding of 50 pixel from all the sides. And this is in a more descriptive manner. And also there's a shorthand notation for this, or you can say shorthand syntax, padding, sorry, just padding, and then give four different values. So let's say 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 40 pixel, and then 50 pixel. So basically what this means is that we want a padding of 10 pixel from the top, 20 pixel from the left, sorry, from the right, 40 pixel from the bottom, and 50 pixel from the left. So I can just write it down here. The basically this is clockwise manner. So from top, then from right, then bottom, and then from left. So this is the shorthand syntax for giving padding. And okay, so moving on to the next, which is margin. And okay, so now we have just seen that padding is the empty space inside the border, or you can say between the content box and border. Okay, so if I just open the dev tool again, and you can see this is our content box. This green area is our content box, and this part is our padding. So I guess you can see this, the shaded portion. This is our padding, and this is our border. Here it is written 5 in border, because we are mentioning the 5 pixel width, so that's why it is written 5 here. And this is the margin, so we can also provide margin. So basically margin is the empty space outside the border, so it is the empty space between two boxes, or you can say between a box or any or another box. So let's say we want to give some empty space here, like outside the border. So how we can do that? We will simply give it a margin left, because this is the left side. So if I just come here and give this a margin left of 50 pixel. So what this line will do is that this line will give an empty space, or you can say a margin of 50 pixel from left. So now you can see there is some empty space. Basically this is of width 50 pixel from left side. And the same goes for margin also, like we can specify margin as 50 pixel, 100 pixel, 50 pixel, and then 100 pixel. So what this means, I want a margin of 50 pixel from top, 100 pixel from right, and then 50 pixel from bottom, and then 100 pixel from left. So like same as padding. So this is the same syntax, like almost it is the same syntax. So this is how we provide margin. And if you just go to this DevTools, and now you can see this is the same that we have written here. Like we have written 50 from top and 50 from bottom and 100 from left and right. So if you just come here, you can see here it is written 50 from top and bottom and 100 from left and right. So in this way, we can provide margin and padding. So basically padding is the this inner empty space between content box and border, and whereas margin is the space outside the border and some other element. So yeah, that's the end of our slide. Okay, so thank you. Now you guys can ask for any question if you have related to HTML, CSS. You can ask in comment section. Are we going to Flexbox? Okay, so for this session, we are not going to cover Flexbox. You can like read it from yourself. We will be providing you with the resources. You can read it from there. If you have any questions, you can ask. Sir, please explain font family. Okay, so basically, here we can see. Let me just. Okay, so basically what a font family is nothing but a collection of many fonts. Like all the font we belongs to the same family. So basically Segoy UI, it is not a specific font. It is just a font family, or you can say this is a font family. So font family is nothing but it is a collection of many fonts of the same kind. And this is the font stack. You can say this font stack. So let me just write it down. This is font stack. Basically, what this means is if the first font is not available on your browser, or if it is not supported by your system, then this will select this second font. And if this is if this is also not present, then it will go to this third font. So in this way, it will fall back to the like these fonts. So this is the main font. If it is available in your browser, then it will be showing in this font. And if it is not supported by your browser, then like some of these font will be shown up to you. Second workshop, we will be covering JavaScript in the second session. So the next session is for JavaScript. Uh, Harshit and Aarti will be taking the second session for the JavaScript. Which computer language we need to learn for all of this? Basically, HTML and CSS. You don't need any language. Basically, HTML and CSS is not a programming language. So this is HTML is a markup language, and CSS is also not a programming language. So you don't require any programming language for this. Okay, so now if you don't have any questions, so okay, one important thing, let me tell you about the recruitment process of CyberLabs. So basically, we will be recruiting you. So we will recruit you through WOC, which is Winter of Code. We will be giving you some projects, and you guys have to choose any one of those projects. You can choose any one of them, and then send a proposal for the same. Like you will be mentioning the important information in your proposal, like what tech stack will you will be using, and what are the timeline, uh, uh, like from what time which timeline you will be following, and okay, and you will be writing down all the necessary information, and then you have to complete your project and within the given timeline. And after that we will be selecting your project, or according to your like how it is. If it is good, then we will be selecting you, and after the project round we will have two interview round, and if you are able to qualify both of those interview round, then we will be selecting you. So basically this is the recruitment process for WOC. Yeah, WOC, which is Winter of Code. Okay, so if you guys have any question, then you can ask. Otherwise, we can end this session. Yeah, and one more thing I need to mention about the CSS is that you can see there are many properties. Like there are a bunch of, I don't know, there may be 1,000 of properties. So you don't need to remember every one of these properties. If you like you can see there are many properties. So what you can do, we will be providing you the resources. There is this one site called W3 schools. Okay, W3 schools, and you can just go here, and then in this uh, CSS section, this is the HTML part and this is the CSS. So you can just click on this learn CSS, and here you will be seeing all the different properties of CSS, like the border property, color property, the RGB hex system, this HSL system. You will be seeing all the different properties. So if you want to know more about some property, you can refer to this website. And there is also one more website, which is MDN. So basically, this is the MDN, and here you can go in the technology part, and then in HTML and CSS. If you want to learn CSS, then you can go here, and down at the bottom. Okay, so yeah, here like in the sidebar, you can see the flex box, CSS overview, box alignment, background, and borders. Like you can see all the properties here, and also whenever you hover over a property like color, there will be a little pop-up from the VS Code, which will be like telling you something about that property. So basically, it says that it sets the color of an element text. So, and you can also, if you want to read more about this property, then you can click on this MDN reference, which will be directly taking you from, which will be like this website. And now you can read more about color. You can also like change this. Like say if I change it to red, now you can see this is the live preview or live preview kind of thing. So you can also change this value. You can play with this thing, and yeah, you can see this value and how we can use HSL WB. There are many things to learn, and here are some of the examples, and you can also read about these things. So basically, this is how we write. We don't remember everything. We remember the basics part, like Thus some basic properties we remember, and for rest of the property we just refer to these websites. Okay, so if you are able to make a basic website, like if you are able to create a website, a basic website, then you are good to go ahead. Like you need to learn the basic properties. Like if you don't know how to write this color property, then you need to learn now. So basically, if you know the basic properties and if you are able to create a website without much of the like googling part, so you can go ahead. You will be not like googling every of these properties, like how background property work, how this basic property works. So yeah, for some specific property or some less used property, you can refer these sites. Sir, please tell us about position in CSS. So basically, we can add styles. Like, I'm assuming you are asking about the adding part. So how we can add styles? So basically, there are three ways now. So first one is this. Like here, what we are doing, we are writing the CSS in this external style sheet, and uh, and then linking this style sheet with our HTML page. The second one is by using this style tag. Here, what we are doing, we are using this style tag and in our head part of HTML, obviously, and then we are writing down the CSS here. And the third way of adding style is by using inline style. So in inline style, you just use this style attribute and then whatever property you want to apply. Like if you want to give this a color of brown, you can simply write it down. And if there are some more properties, you can simply write all of this by giving a space. Yeah, we will be providing you with a recording of this session, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so I guess there's no. Okay, so now there's no question, so we can end this session here.
Okay, guys, great session. I think we can end it. The remaining doubts we can resolve it in next session. Okay, guys, I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.